The rain was hammering my windshield when I sat in that parking lot staring at 23 missed calls on my phone. 2 days before, Philip Anderson had looked me straight in the eye and told me I wasn't ready for the plant operations director position. Now half the management team at Precision Medical was calling like the place was about to explode. My name's Roger Williams. I'm 53 years old, and until that conversation with Philip, I thought I had my career path figured out. Turns out I was wrong about a lot of things. I've been at Precision Medical for 15 years now. Before that, I did 8 years in engineering school, and another 10 years learning manufacturing the hard way at smaller shops. When you're responsible for medical device production that keeps people alive, you learn real quick that details matter. Every process, every quality check, every safety protocol has to work perfectly or people get hurt. When I started at Precision, the manufacturing floor was running like a disaster waiting to happen. My predecessor had left with zero documentation, no process maps, nothing. It was like walking into a factory where someone had rewired all the control systems and thrown away the manuals. I spent the first year rebuilding everything from scratch, working 12-hour days, coming in weekends, mapping every process, creating detailed SOPs for everything. Helen was only 5 then. Her mom and I had just finalized our divorce, and I was trying to figure out single parenthood while keeping a manufacturing line running. Helen's now 20, finishing her sophomore year at State University, pre-med track. The tuition bills keep climbing, and with her mother remarried and living across the country, most of the financial responsibility falls on me. I remember Helen asking why Daddy was always tired when I picked her up those early years, but I figured the hard work would pay off eventually. That's what they tell you, right? Put in the time, prove your value, and you'll get recognized. For 15 years, I was the guy who kept everything running. When our biggest client, Medcore Industries, had urgent orders, I was the one who stayed late to make sure production stayed on track. When equipment broke down, I fixed it. When FDA auditors showed up unannounced, I had all the documentation ready. I wrote the training manuals, documented every workflow, and basically became the walking encyclopedia of our entire operation. The irony is that my dedication probably hurt my advancement. When you make everything look easy, people start thinking it actually is easy. They forget about the expertise required to prevent problems before they happen. Philip Anderson became plant manager about 2 years ago. Nice enough guy, about 35, very focused on the numbers and cost reduction. The problem was he'd never actually run a production line. Why would he need to? I had everything running so smoothly he could focus on spreadsheets and corporate meetings. What I didn't know was that Philip had been making promises to his boss, Carl Johnson, our CEO. Carl had a nephew, Glenn Davis, who had just finished his MBA from Duke. 28 years old, smart kid, but he'd never worked a day in manufacturing, never dealt with a contamination event at 3 a.m., never had to explain to the FDA why a batch was out of spec, never had to shut down a line because someone took a safety shortcut. The promotion meeting happened on a Thursday. I'd prepared a comprehensive presentation showing how I'd improved efficiency by 32% over the past 18 months, reduced quality defects by 55%, and personally managed our ISO certification renewal that kept us qualified for $12 million in annual contracts. I walked into that conference room thinking this was finally my moment. After 15 years of proving myself, surely they'd see that I was ready for the next level. Helen's tuition for next year was going up another 8%, and the promotion would help cover the gap. Philip flipped through my report for maybe 3 minutes before setting it aside. "I appreciate all your work, Roger," he said, barely making eye contact. "But I've been thinking about the direction we need to go. We need fresh thinking, new approaches." Glenn will be joining us next month as Assistant Plant Operations Director. Assistant Plant Operations Director. That was supposed to be my stepping stone to running the whole operation. I said, keeping my voice steady. "And what's my role in this transition?" "You'll stay as Senior Manufacturing Engineer." Glenn's going to need someone experienced to show him the ropes. Someone who knows all the systems. Translation: I do all the work while Carl's nephew gets the title and the raise that should have been mine. I kept my face neutral the way you learn to do when dealing with difficult situations. At 53, you develop a certain poker face for corporate disappointments. I understand. When does Glenn start? Monday. Maybe you could put together some orientation materials over the weekend. That's when it hit me like a punch to the gut. I'd been working weekends for 15 years. I'd missed Helen's soccer games, school plays, father-daughter events when she was growing up. Now she was in college, and I was still missing out on the few times she came home because this company demanded every free hour I had, and they wanted me to spend my weekend training my replacement. I stood up, shook Philip's hand, and walked out of his office. But instead of going back to my workstation, I walked straight to the parking lot. That's where I made the decision that changed everything. I wasn't going to quit in anger. I wasn't going to cause a scene. I was going to do something much more effective. I was going to follow my job description exactly as written. See, here's what Philip and the other managers didn't understand. My official job description was pretty standard. Ensure manufacturing processes meet quality standards. Coordinate with production teams as assigned. Maintain regulatory compliance within scope of responsibility. Basic engineering language that didn't come close to describing what I actually did every day. What I actually did was arrive at 6 a.m. to review overnight production reports before the morning management meeting. I answered calls from every department because somehow I'd become the go-to guy for any technical question. I solved problems before they became crises, staying late to make sure nothing went wrong during the night shift. But my job description said standard business hours, so that's what I was going to do. I drove home that Thursday evening and did something I hadn't done in years. I turned off my work phone at 5 p.m. when I called Helen that night to check in on her classes. She was surprised to hear from me at a reasonable hour. "Dad, why are you calling before 9 p.m.? Usually you're still at work." I decided my time was more valuable than I thought. I told her, "How's organic chemistry going?" "Really tough, but I'm managing. The lab reports are killer though." For the first time in months, I actually had the mental energy to talk through her coursework challenges instead of being distracted by work emergencies. We spent 30 minutes discussing molecular structures and reaction pathways, and I realized how much I'd missed these conversations. Friday morning, I arrived at exactly 8 a.m. No early morning prep work, no getting ahead of problems. I answered emails addressed directly to me and forwarded everything else to the appropriate department. When my phone rang with questions about processes that weren't technically my responsibility, I politely directed callers to their department supervisors. By lunch, people were starting to notice. Janet Wilson from Quality Control stopped by my desk looking confused. "Roger, did you see the alert about the batch contamination in Building 3? "I did," I replied, continuing to work on my assigned equipment calibration report. "So can you handle the investigation like you usually do? That's actually a quality control investigation. I forwarded the alert to your supervisor. They'll coordinate with production and environmental health." Her eyebrows went up. "But you always handle these cross-department issues." "I've been asked to focus more on my core engineering responsibilities," I said with a smile, "just trying to be more efficient with my time." The look on Janet's face told me everything I needed to know. Nobody had ever bothered to understand what my actual job was versus what I'd been doing all these years. Over the weekend, I did something I hadn't done in months. I drove up to visit Helen at college. She was shocked to see me on a Saturday afternoon instead of being buried in work emergencies. "Dad, what are you doing here?" she asked as we sat in the campus coffee shop. "Thought I'd take my daughter to lunch. Is that okay?" "Of course, but you never take weekends off." I looked at her across the table. At 20, Helen had grown into a confident young woman. Pre-med was tough, but she was handling it with the same methodical approach I'd tried to teach her growing up. "I'm making some changes in how I prioritize my time." "Good," she said firmly. "You've been working yourself to death for years, and for what? They don't appreciate you anyway. Smart kid, smarter than her old man sometimes." "Actually, that's something I wanted to talk to you about. Your tuition is going up again next year. And, Dad, don't worry about the money. I can take out more loans, maybe get a work-study job." "No," I said. "You focus on your studies. I'll figure out the financial side, but if they're not promoting you, let me handle that part. How's organic chemistry?" We spent 2 hours talking about her classes, her friends, her plans for medical school. Real conversations about her life, not rushed phone calls between work crises. When I dropped her off at her dorm, she hugged me longer than usual. "I like this version of you, Dad. Don't let them turn you back into a workaholic." Monday morning when Glenn started, the cracks in our operation were really showing. The contamination investigation had taken 3 days instead of the 4 hours I usually needed because quality control and production couldn't agree on procedures. Two equipment maintenance issues were sitting in various approval queues because nobody knew the proper escalation process. I watched it all unfold with the detached interest of someone observing a science experiment. Every email that sat unanswered, every phone call that got transferred 3 times, every urgent request that nobody could handle was all documented in my comprehensive operations manual that apparently nobody had ever bothered to read. Glenn seemed like a decent kid, but he was completely overwhelmed. Philip introduced him around, but when people started asking technical questions, Glenn just took notes and promised to follow up later. "Roger," he said, approaching my desk around 10 a.m. "I was wondering if you could walk me through the quality systems."
Absolutely.
Everything is documented in our operations manual, sections 3 through 7, very comprehensive guide that covers all our procedures. "Could you maybe give me the abbreviated version, just the key points?" I smiled. "Glenn, those sections exist because the FDA requires detailed documentation. There really isn't an abbreviated version when it comes to regulatory compliance." He looked frustrated, but Philip said you could show me the ropes. "I'm happy to answer specific questions about documented procedures. What particular process are you trying to understand?" Keith Martinez from procurement wandered by my desk around 2 p.m. looking frazzled. "Roger, the Medcore purchase order is stuck in approval hell. Can you work your magic?" "What seems to be the issue?" I asked, genuinely curious. "The system won't accept their new billing address, and nobody knows how to override it." I nodded thoughtfully. "That process is covered in Section 12 of the Operations Manual. The override requires supervisor approval from both procurement and accounting. It's a security feature to prevent billing fraud. Pretty important protection for the company." Keith stared at me. "You've always just handled these things in 5 minutes." I had special authorization from previous management to expedite certain processes, but with the department restructuring coming up, I thought it best to follow standard protocols. He walked away shaking his head, probably wondering when I'd become such a stickler for rules. Tuesday morning brought more of the same. Production had questions about equipment settings that Glenn couldn't answer. Quality control needed process validations that were sitting in someone's inbox. Environmental health needed contamination protocols that required my input, but only during my official work hours. I was home by 5:15 p.m. each day, something that hadn't happened in years. I started cooking actual dinners instead of grabbing fast food on the way home. I read books. I called Helen more often to check on her classes, but the real crisis was building at work. Without someone to smooth over the rough edges, coordinate between departments, and handle the technical problems that fell between official job descriptions, Precision Medical was starting to show strain. Wednesday morning, Philip stopped by my desk. "Roger, we need to talk about your recent performance." "What specifically?" I asked. "You've been less involved lately. People are saying you're not as responsive to urgent requests. I've been focusing on my core responsibilities as outlined in my job description. Is there something specific about my assigned work that's unsatisfactory?" "No, but because my equipment calibrations are ahead of schedule, my regulatory reports are all current, and my process documentation is up to date." Philip looked uncomfortable. "It's more about your collaboration with other departments. I collaborate within my defined scope of responsibility. If there are additional duties you'd like me to take on, we should probably discuss how that aligns with my role and compensation." That was the moment I saw the first crack in his confidence. Philip had never actually thought about what my job was supposed to be versus what I'd been doing. He just knew that things used to run smoothly, and now they didn't. Thursday morning, I arrived to find Glenn looking stressed and overwhelmed. He'd been trying to handle the equipment malfunction using the operations manual, but was clearly in over his head. "Roger, this calibration procedure isn't making sense. Could you walk through it with me? What specifically are you having trouble with?" "All of it, honestly. The manual assumes you know things that aren't written down." I looked at the manual he was holding. It was comprehensive, but Glenn was right. It assumed institutional knowledge that couldn't be written down because it came from years of experience. "Glenn, this is actually a great learning opportunity. Why don't you follow the procedure step by step, and I'll answer questions about specific steps as they come up. But this could take hours." "Yes, it could. But if you want to understand our systems, you need to work through the processes yourself. That's how you build competence." By lunch Thursday, Word was spreading that the new assistant plant operations director was struggling with basic procedures. People were starting to ask questions about the decision to promote someone with no manufacturing experience over someone who'd been doing the job for 15 years. Friday brought the crisis I'd been expecting. I arrived at 8 a.m. to find chaos in full swing. Philip was pacing outside the conference room. Glenn was already there, looking overwhelmed, and Carl Johnson, our CEO, had apparently been called in for an emergency meeting. The parking lot had 3 cars I didn't recognize, probably executives from corporate headquarters. The receptionist flagged me down before I could reach my desk. "Roger, they need you in conference room A immediately." I gathered my notebook and walked into what was clearly a full-scale crisis situation. Besides Philip, Glenn, and Carl, there were 2 people I didn't recognize and someone I recognized as Medcor's director of operations. Sarah Martinez. "Roger," Carl said with obvious relief. "Thank God you're here. We've got a serious situation. What's the specific issue?" Philip started explaining, but it was clear he only understood half the problem. Medcor had called an emergency meeting because their latest shipment was failing final inspection. Glenn was frantically taking notes but kept asking basic questions that showed he didn't understand our quality systems. Sarah Martinez cut straight to the point. "Our entire Q4 product launch is at risk. These devices are failing sterility testing, and we can't figure out why. If we can't resolve this by end of business today, we're looking at terminating our contract." I reviewed the technical data they'd gathered. It was actually a straightforward issue if you understood the interaction between our sterilization process and their packaging requirements. The solution was documented in our process manual section 8. "This is a known interaction with Medcor's modified packaging specifications," I said. "The resolution is documented in our SOP manual, section 8.3 through 8.7. The fix requires adjusting 3 different process parameters in a specific sequence." Glenn was frantically flipping through his manual. "Which section exactly? I can't find it." "Section 8, subsection 8, subsection 8.3 through 8.7. The complete process takes about 2 hours if you follow the documented procedures." One of the corporate executives leaned forward. "Can you handle this immediately?" I checked my watch. "I have the monthly FDA compliance review scheduled at 10 a.m. That's due to the regulatory team by end of day, so it can't be postponed." "The compliance review can wait," Philip said quickly. "Medcor is our biggest client." "I understand Medcor is important," I replied. "However, missing the FDA deadline results in automatic citations and potential manufacturing suspension. That would affect all our clients, not just Medcor." The room went dead quiet. You could see everyone doing the math on what a manufacturing suspension would cost. "What are our options?" Carl asked carefully. "Well, Glenn could handle the Medcor issue using the documented procedures. It would be excellent training for him, and I'd be available for questions between compliance sessions." Glenn looked terrified. "Roger, I don't think I'm ready for something this critical. The documentation is very detailed," I said encouragingly. "Everything is laid out step by step. This is exactly the kind of hands-on experience you need in your new role." Philip's face was getting red. "Roger, we need you to handle this personally." "I'm happy to take point on Medcor," I said. "But if you want me to reschedule the FDA compliance review, I need written authorization acknowledging the regulatory risks." Sarah Martinez was checking her phone. "Our production line is shut down. Every hour of delay costs us $50,000. Carl held up a hand. "Roger, let me be direct. What would it take for you to handle this crisis the way you always have?" I looked around the room at all the faces staring at me. These people had depended on my expertise for 15 years without ever acknowledging what I actually contributed. Now suddenly my adherence to proper procedures was their emergency. "Well," I said slowly, "I suppose we should discuss what my role actually is here." "Your role is to solve manufacturing problems," Philip said tightly. "According to my job description, my role is to ensure manufacturing processes meet quality standards within my assigned scope. The Medcor issue falls under process engineering, which reports to a different department." The corporate executive leaned forward. "Are you saying you won't help?" "Not at all. I'm saying that if we want to resolve this properly, we need to clarify responsibilities and authority. Glenn is the assistant plant operations director. This seems like an excellent opportunity for him to demonstrate his capabilities." Glenn spoke up, his voice shaky. "Roger, I appreciate your confidence, but this is way over my head." I turned to him with genuine kindness. Glenn, you have an MBA from Duke. You're smart and capable. The only difference between you and me is that I've seen these problems before. But what if I mess it up? Then we'll fix it together. That's how you learn. Carl was studying me carefully. Roger, it seems like something has changed in your approach this week. You're right. I've been thinking about my career trajectory and what I want to accomplish in my remaining years in manufacturing. And what conclusion did you reach? That I've been enabling a system that doesn't develop people properly. I've prevented the company from building sustainable procedures by constantly stepping in to solve problems outside my official responsibilities. So this is about Glenn's promotion. I shook my head. This is about building a company that can function without depending on any single person's heroics. What happens when I retire in 10 years? What happens if I get hit by a bus tomorrow? Sarah Martinez was losing patience. Look, I don't care about your internal politics. I need this problem solved today or we're pulling the contract. Carl exchanged glances with the corporate executives. Roger Thompson Industries called yesterday. They mentioned making you an offer. I wasn't surprised they'd heard about it. The manufacturing community is smaller than people think. They did reach out. Plant operations director position. Significant salary increase. Have you given them an answer? I told them I needed to think about it. I've been loyal to Precision for 15 years. The room was quiet except for the hum of the ventilation system. Let me ask you something, I continued. In all the discussions about Glenn's promotion, did anyone consider what would happen to institutional knowledge transfer? Did anyone think about succession planning? Philip looked uncomfortable. We assumed you'd continue in your current role, handling all the complex problems while someone else gets the title and the raise. Carl finally spoke up. What would it take for you to stay and help us through this transition? I'd need to see a clear path forward that recognizes the actual value I bring to this organization. Sarah Martinez stood up. I'm going to give you 2 hours to figure this out internally. After that, I'm calling our backup supplier. She left the room, taking the corporate executives with her. Carl turned to me. Roger, let's talk privately. As we walked to his office, I thought about Helen's tuition bills, about the years of weekends I'd given this company, about all the times I'd made other people look good by solving problems they couldn't handle. It was time to stop making their incompetence my emergency. In Carl's office, the corporate executive was waiting. Philip wasn't there. Please sit down, Carl said. I want to be completely transparent with you. We've made some serious mistakes in how we've handled this situation. What mistakes specifically? I asked. The corporate executive spoke up. We've created an unsustainable dependency on your expertise without appropriate recognition or advancement opportunities. And we've allowed personal relationships to influence professional decisions. Carl nodded. The board has been reviewing our organizational structure. It's become clear that we don't have proper succession planning or knowledge transfer protocols. I waited for them to continue. We'd like to offer you the plant operations director position, Carl said. 40% salary increase, full authority to restructure operations as you see fit, and budget approval for 2 additional senior engineering positions. It was a good offer, better than what I'd been hoping for. The salary increase would easily cover Helen's tuition increases, and maybe even let me help with medical school down the road. What about Glenn? I asked. Glenn will start as a manufacturing engineer and advance based on merit under your guidance. If he demonstrates competence over time, he can move up through proper channels. And Philip? Carl shifted uncomfortably. Philip will be transitioning to a corporate strategy role. Plant operations will report directly to you. So Philip was being moved sideways. It wasn't revenge exactly, but it was accountability. What about Thompson Industries? The corporate executive asked. Are you seriously considering their offer? I thought about it for a moment. Thompson is offering more money and complete autonomy. But they're also asking me to start over with unfamiliar systems and new relationships. What would make you choose to stay here? The chance to build something sustainable, to create systems that don't depend on any one person working heroic hours, to mentor people properly instead of just cleaning up messes. Carl leaned forward. We need an answer today because of the MedCore situation, I understand. But before I decide anything, I need to handle that crisis. Not because it's my job, but because 200 people work here and losing MedCore would hurt all of them. I stood up. Give me 2 hours. I'll get MedCore running again, and then we can finalize the details. Back in the conference room, Glenn was still struggling with the technical documentation. I sat down next to him. Glenn, let me walk you through this step by step. but I want you to understand each stage, not just follow directions. Why are you helping me? He asked. I know this promotion should have been yours, because if I take the director position, you'll be working for me. I'd rather have a competent team member than someone who's struggling. We spent the next hour going through the MedCore problems systematically. Glenn was actually quite smart. He asked good questions and started connecting the dots between different processes. By the time we finished, he understood not just how to fix this specific issue, but why the fix worked. This is incredibly complex, Glenn said as we wrapped up. I had no idea how much technical knowledge was required. Manufacturing engineering is about understanding how all the pieces fit together, I told him. Your MBA taught you business strategy, but this is systems thinking at a completely different level. We got MedCore's production line running again by 3 p.m. Sarah Martinez was relieved but not entirely happy about the delay. This can't happen again, she said. We need reliability, not crisis management. I understand completely, I replied. We're implementing new procedures to prevent these issues from escalating. After Sarah left, I went back to Carl's office. MedCore is resolved, I said. Now let's talk specifics about this director position. What do you need to know? Full authority means I can restructure reporting relationships, implement new training protocols, and hire the people I need. Yes. And the 2 additional senior engineers, I get to choose them within budget constraints? Yes, I thought about it. The offer would solve my immediate financial concerns and give me the authority to fix the systemic problems that had created this crisis in the first place. I accept, I said, but I want everything in writing, including the reporting structure changes. Carl smiled. Already drafted. HR has the paperwork ready. The transition took about 6 weeks. I restructured the department around clear roles and responsibilities, instead of the informal system, where whoever knew how to fix something just handled it. I hired 2 excellent senior engineers who brought fresh perspectives while I provided the institutional knowledge they needed. Glenn turned out to be a dedicated learner. He worked harder than anyone expected, asking questions, taking notes, and gradually building real competence. Within 4 months, he was handling routine issues independently and showing genuine potential for leadership. The most surprising development was with Philip. Once he wasn't trying to manage operations, he didn't understand. He actually excelled at strategic planning. His analytical skills, combined with the operational foundation we were building, helped the company land 3 major new contracts. 6 months later, I was working at a sustainable pace, home by 6:30 most nights, and available when Helen called with questions about her pre-med courses or just wanted to talk. My team was functioning independently. Clients were satisfied, and I felt like I was finally doing the job I'd always been capable of. One evening, Helen called while I was making dinner instead of working late. "Dad, you sound different these days," she said. "Different how? Happier, I guess?" "Less stressed, like you actually have energy when we talk. I finally found the right role," I told her. "Turns out I'm better at leading people than just fixing their mistakes." "So you're like really important now?" She teased. "I was always important, Helen. It just took them a while to figure it out. Is that why you were working so much before? To prove you were important? Smart kid? Yeah, I think so. But I learned something important. The people who matter will recognize your value without you having to work yourself to death proving it. And the people who don't, sometimes you have to step back and let them figure out what they're missing. But the goal isn't to hurt anybody. It's to find a better way to work together." As Helen told me about her organic chemistry lab and her plans for the MCAT, I realized that the best response to being undervalued isn't anger or revenge. It's demonstrating your worth so clearly that it becomes impossible to ignore. The promotion to director came with respect, authority, and the ability to build something sustainable. But the real victory was simpler than that. I was finally being seen for what I'd always been capable of, and I was available every night when my daughter needed to talk. If you've ever felt invisible at work, despite doing excellent work, remember this. Your value doesn't disappear just because others can't see it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop making their blindness your problem and start making your worth impossible to ignore. Your expertise becomes your leverage when you stop giving it away for free. The moment I stopped solving problems outside my job scope, the company finally understood my true value and had to negotiate from a position of need rather than assumption. Sometimes the best way to prove you're irreplaceable is to be exactly replaceable according to your job description. By following my official duties precisely, I exposed the gap between what I was paid to do and what I actually did. forcing management to either lose critical capabilities or properly recognize and compensate my contributions. The rain had stopped by the time I finished this story. Just like the storm at Precision Medical, it passed once everyone understood what they'd been taking for granted. Stop being the hero of someone else's incompetence. When you constantly rescue people from their poor decisions, you enable a broken system and rob yourself of the recognition you deserve. Let them feel the full weight of their choices. Your willingness to be undervalued teaches others exactly how much you're worth. The moment you start respecting your own boundaries and expertise, everyone else has no choice but to follow suit. Desperation reveals true value faster than any performance review ever could.